guys, it's Michelle here from Walkingtwobytwo. We're back for another episode, and this time we're going to be doing one of my family's favourite recipes, and that's chili. This is a recipe that my kids have been growing up with, and they absolutely love chili. When they know that I've got chili cooking, they're definitely over for dinner. I often take chili out on the trail. It's just fantastic to have, especially when it's a little bit cold out there and you're at the end of the day and you just want something that's really wholesome and warming. You can have it with rice, or you can have it with corn chips, or even put it in a wrap. It doesn't really matter. If you're new to our series, hi and welcome. If you've been enjoying this series, that's wonderful. Give us a thumbs up and don't forget to press that subscribe button. We have some future episodes coming up which should be really good. I'll be looking at different menus, different meals that maybe you would like to create and take out on the trail for yourself. We'll also be looking not just at the food, we will venture into some of the more well-being to get you ready to go out onto the trail. So today we're going to make chili. This is one of my family's favourite recipes, and funny enough, today my son rang me this morning and said, hey, what are you having for dinner? And I said, well, I'm going to be making some chili because I'm going back out on the track and I want to dehydrate some and take it with me. So of course he's invited himself up for dinner. So I have to make extra, otherwise there won't be enough for me to go out on the track. So what we have here is typically what I would throw into my chili. As I say many a time, my recipes change constantly. They're never the same. Every time I make something, it's a little different. It just depends what's in my cupboard at the time. And this is what I've got in my cupboard at the moment. I have my red kidney beans, some red capsicum, red onion. Yeah, there's a thing going on here, red tomatoes. Red meat, red chilies. Now we'll get off the red and we'll go into some jalapenos, some salt, pink salt, some garlic, some cumin, and some coriander, and of course my cinnamon sticks. And that's typically what I would put in there. Sometimes I would add extra stuff, sometimes not so much. Sometimes I put a bit of ginger in. Yeah, it just depends what I'm feeling or what I've got at the time. Now, the other thing that I do change up sometimes is the meat. You don't always have to have the meat. If you don't have meat, you're a vegetarian or vegan, and you don't want to have meat, don't put the meat in. That's okay. Why not put a few extra different types of beans in? Put some butter beans in, some white beans, or chickpeas, or something extra to give it a bit more bulk. You don't need to have the meat. The other thing that I'm going to add today, because I need to make a lot more to feed my son as well, I am going to add a little bit of beef mince into it. Now sometimes, like in my book, I've got the recipe in there with some beef mince, because beef mince actually rehydrates very good. It dehydrates well and rehydrates quick. But this time, because we're going to have it for our dinner, I am doing some very lean rump meat. Now, I've actually cut this quite fine, as you can see. If I wasn't dehydrating, I wouldn't. I would just chop it any old way and not be worried. But because I'm dehydrating as well, I have gone to the extra effort of chopping it up quite fine. So when I dehydrate it, it will dehydrate really quickly. Also the same with my onions. They're chopped very, very fine because of the dehydration. The same with the capsicums. I haven't bothered so much with the beans. They tend to dry out really quickly anyway. So what we're going to do is put this all together in the slow cooker, cook it for around 6 hours, and then yeah, it'll be done. It's as easy as that. If you don't have a slow cooker, you can do it on the stove, and you know it can take as little as 20 minutes. If you get home from work and you're like, oh my God, I haven't got it ready yet, this will only take 20 minutes on the stove if you choose it to. But in the slow cooker, I think it comes out the best, where the flavors really get intense. So let's get the slow cooker out. You could put a little bit of oil in the bottom if you wanted to. Just be aware not to use too much oil when you're dehydrating. Because oil and fats don't tend to dehydrate, and they will send your food rancid. With my meat, I made sure that I cut all the fat away. So basically we're just throwing everything in there, you know, don't be shy, chuck it in. This here is a large tin of tomatoes too, by the way. You could use 2 tins of crushed tomatoes or a large one. If you don't have 2 tins of tomatoes or a large crushed tomatoes, you can use like tomato puree is good. I also sometimes, if I've got spare old tomatoes in the fridge that need to be used up and they're so ripe, I would then chop them up finely and throw them in as well. They come up quite well. You can put as much chili and as much jalapenos in as you want. I myself can't handle the heat. Unfortunately for Mark and my son, they love it hot. So I sort of go in between. Sometimes I go a little bit too hot that I can't eat it. You also add some other herbs like some parsley in there if you wanted to. And as for the salt, you know, don't be shy. Salt will help soften the meat as well. Let's go for a bit more. Now when you choose your mince, be sure to get the good mince. Don't get the cheap, nasty mince. You have to get the premium mince, the low-fat mince. So there, you know, there isn't a lot of, you know, fats in there for your dehydration. My dog has been asleep all morning, and now that I've opened up this packet, she is at my feet wanting meat. So I might have to save her a little bit. She's a funny girl. For a blind, deaf dog, she does remarkably well. That little bit for her. Once you've got it all in there, give it a really good stir. Don't do that. Don't do what I just did and throw it all over the place. Just stir it around. Now, if you want more, if you're having this for dinner and you're not dehydrating it and you want more liquid, add it. You know, add a little bit of water if you have to, add a little bit of tomato, more tin tomato. Sometimes I do that. Sometimes I start the project and then halfway through I look at it and go, yeah, I want a bit more sauce. So I would add more. Don't be afraid to play with it. In this case though, because I'm dehydrating, I'm not overly keen to add more. I will probably take out what I want to dehydrate before I do serve up for dinner, and then I would add some more for our dinner. Add some more tomatoes or something. Yeah. How's that? What do you think, Misha? Does that smell pretty good, does it? Okay, so pop the lid on, put it on a low setting for 6 hours and ta-da, it's done.